Alright, well, with the completion of the Rally Pong clone board, I'm going to move on to my next project. This is an Atari Crash and Score 1975. My understanding is this is a two-player game, kind of like Death Race 2000. But I've never played it. I've never even seen one before. This is kind of a rare board, I think. Didn't make a whole ton of them. So just looking at this board, just eyeballing it, I need to give it a good clean, so I'm going to give it a bath, wash it. But before I do that, I'm going to replace or remove some broken parts. Like that cap there is broke. I'm going to remove it. And this power resistor is complete trash. I'm going to remove that and clean it up. And I'm not going to replace that, I don't think. Looking on the back side, it got really damn hot right there in the power supply section, so there may be more going on. There may be a short on this board that caused this, or it may just be the board was used a hell of a lot. So yeah, remove those bad components, look around, see if there's anything else I want to remove or do before I give it a bath. I need to be careful about these switches. I could break them if I'm not careful. But yeah, it's interesting. It's got a couple of proms. These are 82, let's see, 82 115s. I think those are 512 by 8 proms. They're not ROMs, they're proms. These were programmed. So chances are one of those is going to be bad. And this is going to be for graphic data. The game will play, but the graphics will be missing or bad. Probably with those. You'll see there's no processor on this. This is still pre-processor stuff. Alright, well, let me get moving. Alright, well, surprisingly enough, this is measuring to be 4 ohms, which I think is correct. Now, the ones that are burned up are no bueno. I'll disassemble that and see if that 4 ohm resistor there is still good. And I think that's a 10 watt resistor. Well, I removed the broken capacitor, I removed the resistor, and I looked around and I saw this big giant blob of solder, and I was going, well, that's interesting. Well, now I know. Somebody cut the trace there, and that's a diagnostic trick. They have a short somewhere on the board, and they were trying to decide if it was a power supply or if it was something on this side. No way to know, although this is extremely burned up, so it might be in this area. So that's an unfortunate thing. Oh, and also there's some damage here. Traces are not great, and they rigged a wire. I might try to improve that. See what the other side looks like. Other side didn't look too bad. So on this side, so that would be because of extra current draw, would have chewed that up. All right, so I want to clean this up before I start working on it. I'll clean this up, and that'll be it for tonight for me. But you guys won't, the video will continue for you guys. Oh yeah, and after I get this cleaned up, the next thing I'll be doing is building a test connector, test harness for this thing. I'll have to look and see if I can find pinouts for it. I did find the schematic, so I can get the pinouts off of that, but it'd be nice if someone had already done that work for me. Alright, thanks for watching so far. Okay, so this resistor is measuring to be about 4 ohms. It's got some cracks and heat damage. It's also not a 10 watt, it's a 5 watt. Now, if you look at the schematics, that resistor there is supposed to be 4 ohms but 10 watts. So this was half the wattage that it needed to be. So that was going to burn up over time. So I need to dig up a 10 watt 4 ohm if I want to replace that. Probably won't. There should be a 5 volt line pin. Yeah, so that pin right there, I can connect the switching power supply 5 volts to that and power the board that way. But still, somebody thought that there was a short somewhere, or they wouldn't have cut that. So I'm going to be probing around a little bit more tonight, but I'm not going to be doing much. I still want to clean the board tonight. That's about all I'm going to get accomplished. Well, another weird thing, someone clipped that off. This is an 8,000 microfarad capacitor to level out the voltage that's regulated. Output of this thing is regulated with this. This keeps it at 5 volts, cleanly I should say. But someone cut that off. Cut that lead off, so I'll resolder that back. I checked to see if it was shorted. It is not shorted, so I don't know what's going on here yet. I won't know more until I get power to it, but that's a ways away. So I'm checking out all these transistors and all the diodes everywhere that I'm seeing diodes. Everything's checking out is not shorted. So, not sure what they were searching for, but I will figure it out. Well, I'm still working on this thing. I'm going to make the repairs to this trace, and I'm going to clean this up and see if I can't repair that better. I've got an old Asteroid Deluxe board that someone had chopped off the edge connector, and I got this out of a pile of junk, I guess. But I've been taking chips off of it. There's very few left. Chips, resistors, whatever I need. If I find it on here, I use it. So I'm going to use some of this copper cladding on this to repair these traces. That's the idea anyway. Like these cladded copper here is just about the right width for these pins. So that might be a good candidate to cut that out and solder it onto here. All right, let me get that done. All right, so what I did here, so I took an X-Acto knife and I cut through the trace, and then I grabbed it with pliers and I'm ripping it off. This is basically just glued on. So I'm going to pull that all the way across, and I'm going to use this piece of copper to repair the other board. Okay, so here you can see I've prepared the surface. There were a couple of wires, copper pieces of wire soldered on this, and I've removed it, cleaned it up, removed the excess solder. And same thing over here, I've cleaned this up and removed the excess solder. So these are ready to try to be repaired. Alright, so the piece of metal that I removed from the Asteroid board, Asteroid Deluxe board, has photomask on it. And you can see it's got silk screening on it too. So I'm going to take a Dremel, wire brush on a Dremel, and just remove all that photomask and silk screen off of there, so that I have a good clean area to solder to. So there you have it. What I did was I put a substrate of solder on the two pieces that had been cut, and I put a substrate on the piece I'm adding on the back side, and then I just laid it on top and heat it evenly and kind of moved it around. And I added additional solder to each end. And if you do it right, it will just suck in underneath, and that's what happened here. So it's hard to tell that there was even ever a cut there, you know, after you're done. So I'm going to do something similar to try to repair these now. So I took the remaining strip that I had and I cut it right down the center, and this stuff cuts pretty well with scissors. So I just used a pair of scissors and cut it right down the middle. One's a little bit fatter than the other, but that's not going to be a problem. It looks really good. So now I'm going to prep these pieces and apply them here. Got two spots I need to repair. Okay, so there's our new traces. The front side wasn't bad. I soldered these on top of the good ones on this side and just wrapped it around. These are the same on the top and bottom sides of the board. So here's what it looks like, the ones that I repaired right here and right here. These were completely missing. So look pretty good. Also cleaned up these other ones. They had some burn discoloration, and I took the Dremel and just cleaned them up, and then I re-tinted them so that they're shining and probably conduct a little bit better. So that's looking pretty good to me. That ought to hold up. As long as there's not a power problem where a lot of power is being drawn, these should be fine.